Lycidas, a monody by John Milton. A monody is an ode in which a single mourner expresses his grief. An ode is a type of lyrical stanza. It is an elaborately structured poem praising or glorifying an event or individual, describing nature intellectually as well as emotionally. The ode is a lyric poem. It conveys exalted and inspired emotions. It is a lyric in an elaborate form expressed in a language that is imaginative, dignified, and sincere. Like a lyric, an ode is of Greek origin. Lycidas Edward King is dead, and the poet writes to mourn his death. Lycidas himself was a great poet, and so his death must not remain unsung. The poet's powers are not yet fully matured. Still, he would write an elegy to express his grief. Yet once more, O ye laurels, and once more, ye myrtles brown, with ivy never sere. Yet once more, these words have reference to the fact that Milton had written no English verse for 3 years, and that he did not yet consider himself sufficiently matured for the poet's task. The words do not imply that he is once more to write an elegiac poem, as if he were referring back to his poems on the death of a fair infant and epitaph on the Marchioness of Winchester. He is thinking of Comu, written in 1634. Laurels are symbols of poetry, sometimes they are symbols of victory also. Myrtles brown are dark colored myrtle. With ivy never sere, the plant is never withered because it is associated with Bacchus, the god of revelry. I come to pluck your berries harsh and crude, and with forced fingers rude. Berries are fruits of a plant, forced, unwilling to return to poetry. Rude is unripe. Shatter your leaves before the mellowing ear, bitter constraint and sad occasion dear. Mellowing is soft, juicy, well-matured ripening. Constraint, compulsion, restraint of natural feelings. The suggestion is that Milton might not have written any poem because of his immaturity, but bitterness of his feelings at the sad occasion of the death of his friend has compelled him to compose this elegy. Sad occasion is the death of his friend. Dear is affecting him deeply. Compels me to disturb your season due, for Lycidas is dead, dead his prime. Compels, but for Lycidas' death, the poet would not have returned to writing. To disturb your season due, to pluck you before your proper season. His prime, before the maturity of his youth. Young Lycidas, and hath not left his peer. Peer is equal. Who would not sing for Lycidas? He knew himself to sing and build the lofty rhyme. Build the lofty rhyme, write great poetry. He must not float upon his watery bier, Bier is movable stand on which coffin is taken to the graveyard. Unwept and welter to the parching wind. Welter to roll to wash about. Without the meed of some melodious tear. Meed is reward. Melodious tear is an elegiac poem, a tearful melody. In the opening lines, Milton excuses himself for writing a poem even before his powers have fully matured. The poet had written his Como some time back and he again intends to write. He appears in the mask of a shepherd and invokes certain evergreen plants which stand for immortality. Addressing the laurels, ivy and myrtle, he says, even before the season which ripens you comes to an end, I must roughly pluck your fruit and write the elegy. It is the bitterness of feelings on the sad occasion on the death of Edward King which compels me to disturb you even before the right time. Young Lycidas has died even before attaining his manhood. Young Lycidas has died even before attaining his manhood and has left no equal of his behind. As he himself was a fine poet, people must compose poetry and sing songs in his honor. People must weep over his death caused by his drowning in water. The poet has referred to Edward King as Lycidas. The poet invokes the muses to inspire him so that he may mourn his friend's death in a befitting manner. He hopes that, just as he is now mourning the death of Edward King, some other poet would mourn for him when he himself dies. Using the conventional imagery and phraseology of the pastoral, he tells us that he and Edward King were close friends and companions at Cambridge. The poet remembers his happy college life when he enjoyed the company of his friend. Begin then, sisters of the sacred well, that from beneath the seat of Jove doth spring. Sisters of the sacred well are the nine muses, goddess of fine arts, daughters of Jove. They are often mentioned in Greek poetry as the nymphs of Helicon, because Mount Helicon was one of their favorite haunts. On this mountain were two fountains sacred to the Muses, hence Milton's allusion to the sacred well. The sacred well is the fountain at the foot of Mount Olympus where the Muses were born, and the seat of Jove is Mount Olympus, the abode of the gods. Begin and somewhat loudly sweep the string. Begin then, sisters of the sacred well, that doth from beneath the seat of Jove doth spring. Begin and somewhat loudly sweep the string. Hence, with denial vain and coy excuse. Denial vain and coy excuse. Milton is not ready to listen to any excuse of the muses. He wants them to loudly sweep the string or to play on the lyre loudly. So may some gentle muse with lucky words favor my destined urn. Gentle muse, poet inspired by the muse, the goddess of poetry. My destined urn. Urn stands for the vessel in which the poet's ashes destined to be buried. The sense is, as I now write a poem to the memory of Lycidas, so may someone when I am dead write kindly words about me. And as he passes turn and bid fair peace be to my sable shroud. Sable shroud is the black-colored sheet of cloth in which the dead body is wrapped. As he passes, in passing may turn, bid fair peace. Pray that sweet peace may rest upon me in death. For we were nursed upon the self-same hill. Nursed, etc. is a pastoral way of saying that they had been students of the same college at Cambridge, fed the same flock, were employed in the study of the same subjects by fountain, shade, and rill. Rill is stream. Together both ere the high lawns appeared, high lawns, open spaces in uplands, under the opening eyelids of the morn. Morn here is personified. The poet represents himself as and Lycidas as spending the whole day together from dawn to noon and from noon to eve. We drove afield and both together heard. We drove afield. We drove the same flock out into the field and heard at the time when, what time the grey fly winds her sultry horn. Sultry is the blazing heat of the sun. Grey fly winds her sultry horn. The grey fly sounds her horn by noon. Battening our flocks with the fresh dews of night to flatten or feed. Batten is to fatten or feed. Oft, oft till the star that rose that evening bright, toward heaven's descent had sloped his westering wheel, passing towards the west, westering. Heaven's descent is horizon. Oft till the star that rose at evening bright, this is the evening star Venus. Meanwhile, the rural ditties were not mute. Rural ditties are songs which the rural population are fond of. Tempered to the oaten flute. Their flutes are made of the stalks of oat, and their songs are attuned to these flutes. Rough satyrs danced, and fauns with cloven heel. Rough satyrs, servants of Dionysus and spirits of the woods, often fond of sensual pleasures and dancing with wood nymphs. Fauns are gods of the fields in Roman mythology, often represented as half men and half goats. From the glad sound would not be absent along. Like to enjoy the poem written by Milton and King. And old Demetrius loved to hear our song. Demetrius is a common name in pastoral poetry. It can also stand for some famous personality in Cambridge, Dr. W. Chappell, who liked to listen to poetry of Milton and King.